so then we'll just listen quietly.
I think we were pretty much done.
We're
I was just
wrapped up.
that was the last thing that was the last thing that I was gonna say, but the electric piece, it's gonna be pretty expensive, but it probably needs to be one of the higher priorities before we really even start to do much of the cosmetic stuff at this point, because we're running some big risks of having some fines and potential unsafe setups and stuff like that.
So you're talking about the one on the what you call that, the upper section.
Yeah, above the panels.
You need electricity to use the say.
Yeah,
okay.
we need to have some additional actual electric stuff run, maybe even another breaker box somewhere. We just purchased a brand new, I don't know what it's called, but
were you getting an estimate for that?
Dustin,
No, I wasn't.
Dustin did.
He did.
For the breaker, or I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Some box that he just bought for the lights. We need additional power to even use that box.
I think.
And he met with an electrician. It was going to be like $6,000 to run all the electric that we need.
Mike,
up
didn't
there.
you talk about potentially just getting another breaker up there?
No, I was suggesting the idea that because we're talking about all this electricity going up there and we don't know what we're doing with the signs and all this, we might actually want to put an extra whole breaker panel up there, like we have down here, so we can like power the sign or some outdoor lights that we might put out there, or some outside electricals up there, so we can put power or something up on that ledge if we need to. That,
Yeah,
it's gonna
you know, so when you guys are talking about the sanctuary, let's try to also look at what we might need in front of the building to go with it. We might have to put an actual breaker pump up there.
Yeah, I think that's the
Would
definitely
probably
safest
be
bet to
more,
go
but
with.
that would be worth it, cause you'd be
Do you
paying the
just
same amount.
do you
to
just
run.
need outlets, or you really need a new line?
Dustin talked to the actual electrician. The way that it was sounding is that it would actually be better to put a brand new breaker box and everything else up there to be able to run
But the
additional
electrician, I
power
would say the same thing.
and stuff. Well, part of the big ticket price though
Just run the wire.
was because all the breaker boxes are back in this area, is running the thing from these boxes up and getting it all the way to the other side of the building. So if we set up a new setup and they run it once, and then from that point everything in the sanctuary side is run from that location, going down the road, it seems like it'd be easier to run additional stuff if we have something on that end of the building already.
And plus, we're trying to get the sign up there, and we're trying to. Dustin was talking about getting like landscape lighting to shine up on the sign from the roof, and all that would be able to be connected.
Well, there is another possibility, and that's to add another electrical meter, and have Duke run another whole line right in the side. I just don't know what the monthly cost is for another meter. I don't know what that cost is. I know like gas meters for businesses is like $100 a month per meter.
Who is in charge of the facilities? The initiative.
Mike and
Whoever's driving.
Logan.
So we need to add this. This is not just sanctuary project.
Yeah, this particular one probably crosses over between those two because it's going to affect both sides. But like I said, I think from a sanctuary piece, that one is one that though it's not like one of the pretty ones that it's going to make an immediate difference in what people see from a safety standpoint and everything else, that one really needs to be kind of a higher priority.
Yeah, that might be top of the
So
list.
to avoid the fines, what are we doing? Are we dismantling the extension cords every service?
For the fines, I mean, there's no way we're going to be able to dismantle them. We can unplug everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, just
but there's
remove
still
it.
going to be cords hanging. I know Karen was big on, we don't even want to see extension cords. That's not going to be able to happen. But
yeah, no,
we can just unplug them.
Well, do we know if he went up there?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we probably need to get a little bit more detail about what he actually looked at. He may have never gone up there, and what he's talking about is this.
Yeah.
So we just got to get clarity there.
And we got them in the junk room too.
Yeah,
So
true.
2 or 3 of them. We got the one
and he
coming up
also-
the ceiling.
He
we can get that
specifically
electric
said too,
done.
from what I heard, that it doesn't like as long as they're unplugged, it's not a problem. But
Yeah.
everything needs to be unplugged.
No, that's
When it's there, no one's using it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So I think we're
You good?
done with that one. Yeah, we can go.
We're yours.
Cool. Let's pray. He's gonna lead us. Landon.
God, thank you for productive growth in this church, and thank you for a team that works to get all the work done, and let this be productive and helpful, and amen.
Amen. So what's on the agenda? I've got an update on EMI just to make sure people are tapped into that. I had a couple people sort of question and say, so why are we doing that again? So it's probably at the very least worth talking about. Easter, I got some thoughts there. So we can touch on that. Anything else? The teams we talked about last week, which I'm good with. I don't think we got to talk about that per se. But as you guys kick them off and start moving them, you know, as you get in trouble or questions, certainly bring it to this meeting.
I've talked with Glenn about Valentine's Day, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
marriage kind of game.
Yeah. So we'll put that on.
He needs to know how much time he has.
Yeah, I answered that as what, about no more than like 10 minutes. I don't think he can play a whole game, so
Yeah.
yeah, so something
Okay.
like 10 minutes, because I think the attention span is what you start to worry about if it goes too much longer than that. So that would be my.
So I told Glenn maybe he needs to have like 2 questions, and then he's planning on bringing like 3 couples to the thing,
Yes.
and at the same time at the end they will have to ask, or you know, the couples, what does it take for you to commit to the marriage for long years?
Okay.
So that's kind of like the agenda.
That's the theme.
Is that something we're gonna do during service, Sunday
That's
morning?
what he's
Yeah.
thinking. That's what he's thinking.
Feb 17th.
Because it would be, whatever we're doing, it'd be nice to be able to incorporate the lighting and the media and everything else. I mean, he can kind of do it on his own in a bubble, but we could make it even bigger if
Yeah.
other people were involved in
So-
what's happening, and we can.
Yep.
Do you remember that game that you guys said?
For
that there's
Father's
a-
Day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same setup.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm saying, making sure that he's communicating to the entire team what he wants to do, so that we
Yeah.
can do a really big
Yeah.
thing, have the lights set up, proper sound, have something on the screen,
Dude, I'll make a new trophy.
versus just saying, hey Glenn, come on up and do your thing, you know what I
Are
mean?
you talking about the Valentine's Day thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just teed it up. So yeah, we're starting into it and see how quickly we can spool it up.
Because that's tomorrow.
What's that?
Wouldn't that be tomorrow that we do something?
No, I think it'll be next.
No, it's next week.
Next, okay, sweet.
So no, I mean, we obviously want to entertain good ideas and new things to do, so I'm good with that. But yeah, I think the challenge is to drop it in the middle and see if we can't all get around it
Yeah, I think that we could
and
definitely,
craft
I
it.
think it'd be something really fun and big, and
Yeah,
certainly.
I'm good with it. So yeah, and again, my issue is just, keeping it tight enough, just to fit in a reasonable space.
Yes.
Is that fair? Now, I didn't get any response about the 10 minutes. Is that what he was thinking? You know what I mean?
I'm already thinking he will say probably 15.
15? So then that says we gotta, move service pieces around to make it fit well. Cause 15 will be 20, so just to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Cause by the time you transition and things like that, yeah, it's 20 minutes and then it's, okay, so then when is that? Is that from 11:10 to 11:30? Is it 11 to 11:20? So we just gotta think about how that works.
Yeah.
Well, we could probably, rather than doing a meet and greet that day,
Yeah.
let that
Just do
replace
that.
meet and greet.
Mhm.
Just do it at that time slot. Meet and greets usually go maybe, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
10, between 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
So that's a pretty good chunk of it, and then it would just sort of maybe eat in a little bit into the announcement
I'm
piece,
good.
and kind of let it sort of take place of that part in the service.
At
We
the
just
same
have to figure out what
time,
we do with offering.
Yeah.
We balance offering with that, but
we had our cell group last night, and I was talking with mine.
Mm-hmm.
The group is getting bigger.
Yeah.
We have like 12 people. So I already told my group that we may eventually have to, you know, not split, but we have to grow this
Another
thing.
one, yeah.
Then, you know, when we were just talking, I'm thinking this marriage thing with the couples, it can eventually lead to cell groups.
Yeah, possibly.
So, you know, if you think we should delay and plan more, you know, we just have to talk with Glenn.
Yeah, so who would take it? Do we know yet? Who would start the new group?
I have asked them last night.
Got it. So that's the first they're hearing it?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's probably at least a month away from actually starting. I would love for the people, whoever starts it, to come here and talk to us for a little bit. So as I think about it, I'm thinking about a couple of steps we would take it through. So whoever it is, you know, just spend a little time with us to talk about the vision, the heart, the direction, and at least our perspective on it. And then they would be grounded, and then they can sort of decide. Then they're going to probably say, "Hey, but I can't start until a certain time." So I'm good. I mean, I think it makes sense. Again, my only point there is just to keep them connected to what we're doing, because I think cell leaders need to sort of always be connected to the heart of what we're doing, in order for those groups to then start to sort of feed from what we're doing. So we can talk about that, but that's at least my thought.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a thought. So, and you know, obviously people here would want to meet them and know who it is and all that stuff. I don't think it'll, you know, obviously it's not people that we don't know, but
Yeah.
that might be just a helpful thing. Any other thoughts about that? You guys agree? I mean, you can push back.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It needs to, can't have lone wolves.
Well, and I want to be sensitive to the work the Embrace team was trying to do as well around SOZO groups. So you guys need to think about weigh in, or just say, hey, we've got nothing to say and there's nothing, just let the group go. And I'm good with that too, but at least we have the question answered. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
Are we able to also start to use the, what's the new software we got?
CCD.
Yeah. We're gonna tie that software into when we start small groups as well, and having the leaders utilize that for communication.
I think we can. What's missing there is we just have not pushed the implementation the way we need to. So one of the things we gotta decide is who's gonna lead that implementation, because one particular person has to get everybody up to speed, make sure everything's working the way we need it, and then onboard people that actually wanna start doing that. And that's not really planned or done yet. I still think Sherry can help us, but we have to have that conversation with her and say, okay, that's a formal implementation to get this thing put in place. Is that fair? I put it on my list of things to do, and again, it's when we decided all the other major initiatives that we wanted to put in place, that to me was one that just, because not enough people know that that's what we plan to do. I had to put that on the list. So we just need a leader, and we just gotta put a plan. Fair? All right. Anything else on the agenda?
So I missed the Valentine's Day thing. What is that gonna look like?
Just like Father's Day.
Okay, just like a game, some sort of game.
So there will be like 2 questions.
Okay.
Looking at 3 couples to do it.
Okay.
And then the 3rd question will be telling what does it take to stay in marriage.
Okay.
So,
And so it's more serious than fun, true?
the 2 are fun.
And then the
The
serious.
3rd one is,
The third one is, got it. Okay.
and that's why I kind of bring up the cell group,
Yeah,
because one of these couples will probably say cell group is important.
yeah,
Then when people hear it, I want to join.
right.
So part of me is like, yeah, let's do it. Then now
Well,
I'm thinking,
no, you're-
when they say cell group,
I know, then, yeah, it's like, so show me one.
Yeah.
Either show me 2, right? No, I think you're right to ask the question.
So we already talk about, just like Wright said, we talk about our cell group. I have already told them that we may have to
Got it. That's your connection.
Disconnect.
Yeah. So guys, get ready. There may be some other people interested, and we can't take any more. So somebody will
Yeah,
have to
or
step
somebody,
up.
someone has to lead.
Yep.
Did Glenn have like a name for it? For the like.
I
segment?
don't,
I'll talk to him.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So what are the next steps for that? I mean, do we have to hear from, does Glenn have to get to someone, at least what he's thinking, or does someone here, do we need to plan the service now? I mean, what do we think is the next step?
Well, we just
Or
need.
is there anything
We
to
just need to
plan?
get with Glenn. I mean,
Okay.
that's just gonna be like John said. We're just gonna input it in. It won't really mess with anything else that we do. We'll do everything as normal, but that'll be like its own little thing. I'm just asking
Good.
so like we can make something so it's not just like a
No, I
something
get it.
random behind the screen that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I'm good
So
with that.
that's gonna be the 4th week of Together series?
Third.
Is there anything with that would tie into the Together message?
I mean, you can always link it. I don't think there is right now.
It depends what his questions are.
Yeah, it does.
Because that would be the other thing, would be nice if there was something that even loosely tied it into, because the message is gonna come right after it.
Right.
And so if there was, even if we kind of came up with a question that would somehow be able to tie a little bit into the Together theme.
Yeah.
The third question is kind of like the together thing.
Yeah.
Stay committed.
Yeah. What does it take to stay together in a marriage or something?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, and I mean, if that's the case, then I don't think I would do anything else.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'll naturally connect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when as I transition, I can make it obvious to people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that. Okay. So nothing else to do for that. Just make the space and plan the day.
Yeah, I'll talk to
That's
Glenn
Glenn.
about whatever he thinks we should call it. That whole segment.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll let you guys manage that. What was that? Okay. All right. So EMI. Some people or a person asked me, why is that? So the EMI thing. What do you guys think? Why are we doing EMI? Why are we starting that track? Anybody remember the conversation on that?
I think we started it, I think we initially said we wanted to start it to kind of help keep the unity and help us,
Okay.
because it's all about listening and communicating closer with each other.
Yeah.
I think that was the main reason that we
Mhm.
said.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? 'Cause
I think specifically, we've got a lot of young guys and ladies coming up that are stepping into the ministry, and this is key topics and critical stuff for them to learn as they're stepping into the ministry, for them to be able to take their next steps.
Yeah.
For me, that was that was the main reason why I had even mentioned it to begin with, was thinking of these guys and then just being kind of a nice recap for everybody who's already been through it, but specifically for these younger guys
Yeah.
in communication and how to talk to one another, how to listen to one another,
Yep.
that kind of thing.
No, that's what I originally. I thought it was for like here. That's why I didn't
was
understand.
that confusing?
I didn't understand the point of like announcing it to the congregation.
Oh.
If like my thought was like we were just gonna like start it here, and if we felt that it was like something
Yeah.
that was beneficial, then we would. But that's what I was kind of confused of, like, why would we announce that we're doing this to the congregation?
Yeah, and I'm simply because there's not 30 of us, and they typically have a class of 30, and there's probably people that'd be interested. It was just opportunistic more than anything else. If we think that limits it, I'm good with not opening it up to the rest of the church. But if they're here, it just sort of made sense to me that we would.
Yeah, if it was here
fair?
and we were making an event about it,
No, we are.
then that makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
good.
mean,
I'm
but
good with the pushback.
Also, it wasn't just like, it wasn't ready to just be like we didn't have enough information, like, to just be like, hey, EMI is gonna, like, we're thinking of doing EMI, and then if people ask questions, then it's like, oh, well, we don't know. So like,
Yeah,
I just wanna like tee it up to where we have, like, if we're gonna bring up an opportunity for something, there's like a next step to follow. Cause you lose people
Got
the
it.
second you're like, oh, we have this coming up, but we don't really know when or where to sign up. Or,
oh, yeah, and because the date was moving, yeah, we hadn't locked it.
Yeah.
Originally, it was the 9th or tomorrow. And then because of the events that were already happening, because we weren't talking about it prior to it, and we just went through, what did we just through, yeah, the SOZO birthday.
Mhm.
And it would have been like a week later or 2 weeks later, so I pushed it out to the 23rd. But everybody can go to the website and see their program. We have knowledge because we've been through it, so yes, that's true. But they do have a track of training that doesn't start with speaking, it may start with speaking. But they do speaking the truth in love, listening for heaven's sake, and then renewing the mind. So the 3 basic courses that really focus on relationships. That's really the intent. The intent is that their home ministry helps people work together better.
What is this?
EMI,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's that.
It's called Equipping Ministries.
an
No,
event.
when?
When? The 23rd.
Because I know there are some events in Cincinnati. It's like a marriage thing.
Yeah.
23rd, marriage encounter weekend
Yeah.
at the Hyatt.
So if you will open up the church, you may have some married couples that can't go because they
Yeah.
already signed up for that.
I got you.
So there's that conflict.
Yeah, and that I wouldn't move it for that personally, because I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but yeah, there might be 1 or 2 people. And given that our group, I'm more concerned about making sure that our group comes plus some people. Does that make sense? So that's the question. The question is on the 23rd, how many of you can make that from like 8 to 5? It's all day.
23rd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking.
Okay. So that's the commit.
And we're good.
I'm good.
I'm tentative.
Okay.
Face birthday party that day.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah. No, I get it. And the other advantage of it was a common language. So that when we have conflicts and things go a little awry, that we can at least say, hey, we know how to step our way out of it. And yeah, at the time that we brought it up, it was pretty important because we knew that unity was going to be one of the things that we're trying to promote, and we wanted to be able to have some basics that we could always go back to. So that was really the intent. And yes, longer term, it would be a routine thing. So as we think about the other thing that I think we have to work on, this onboarding thing, when people come to our church, we have no way of bringing them aboard. We did the pastor's breakfast thing, but I think there needs to be more. And so there has to be a set of steps we take people through, understand the vision, understand the values of the environment we're trying to create, understand a little bit about our history. I mean, there's a couple pieces to it. But we might consider this being part of that track to just say, yeah, before you really get seriously involved, we encourage you to go to one of these classes, if not all 3. And then that builds a little bit of a consistency in the leadership. So I think we can work these things together. The intent was to say, look, we've taken it, we've valued it before, it helps teams work together, so why wouldn't we introduce it to our team?
Who will pay for this?
We are, the churches.
So is it a per training or is it an annual?
No, it's a per training. Yeah, each training is separate, so it's, you bring them in, they facilitate it, you bring all the people that you want to be a part of it, and you go from there.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Just thinking about the onboarding,
Yeah.
because you're encouraging them to take the training.
Mm-hmm.
Who funds that? They might say,
from
will I
the-
pay for that? Is it free?
Well, yeah, I mean,
From the onboarding piece, I would think, because we were gonna have them come in and run these particular ones that we do here. But that doesn't mean that they have to do it every single time.
Right,
We
right.
can
They
just
can
buy
train
the,
us to
we
do
can
it.
buy the curriculum and then we can have people
Okay, so
here
it's
to train people.
train the
on
trainer
it.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
They can,
And
yeah.
it would be, you know, once we would have the stuff, maybe the cost would be, you know, $5 for a packet or something for them to go through it or something like that. I mean, it's not gonna be a major expense for ongoing.
So for the Embrace team, I think it will be a good idea that whoever would like to be a cell facilitator
Mhm.
to do this training.
Yeah.
So we have to identify them quickly.
Yeah, and I don't wanna paste our start of it against that, but yes, I agree
Mm-hmm.
that it would be good for their onboarding. Absolutely agree with that. Anybody that's taken any kind of role interrelationally with people here should have some of that.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that. And this is exactly what we need to think through. You know, you're bringing people in either to the church or into roles, and so what's the prep for that? And we've never done that. So we're just ad hocing it a little bit. I would love for someone to own that and say, okay, we're thinking about how we manage people here and what we do with people, and so we identify them and we prep them, and then we put them in place, and then we evaluate them at some level or talk to them about how they're doing. That's that whole piece of it.
It's like a crash course or like a growth track.
Exactly.
We don't have anything like that.
Exactly, and so it was
People
just
people just come in and
they do, and it's like, well, go over here and do this.
flow, yeah.
I
I mean,
mean-
thankfully with like Stephen and Tiffany, they've like kind of implemented themselves. which
And
I-
they're prepped.
Which I think if they hadn't, they would have just like faded away.
No, I agree with that.
Because like we don't have anything to like grow people, which I think we need to do.
That's why we did it. And again, it's the spark of it. It's not everything. It doesn't solve all the problems.
Well,
but
I think
it
at that
starts it.
point, then we need to focus on this group getting trained up, and then kind of taking their curriculum or even forming like somewhat of our own like crash course
Mm.
of everything we go through on a Saturday morning or everything we value, and then that way we can kind of
Yeah, I think that was John's idea.
yeah.
Now, not everybody's gonna be a trainer, so it's gotta be certain people would have to step up and say, okay, I'll train. I love this enough to train.
How much is the cost of this thing? Is it
We pay $700 to bring them in.
for as many people as comes in?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the other thing, Logan, if we're paying 700, if you open it up,
Yeah.
you're already paying 700.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you might as well fill it.
Yeah.
That's the-
Well, the other thing too, if you open it up, you might get some people drawn in that you would have thought of
Well,
the first time.
that is the other piece.
And all of a sudden, boom, another face comes to mind, or another person
Another servant,
in
another volunteer.
someplace.
Absolutely right. And again, since it's canned, and all we do is we open the building, we turn on the lights, we set them up, they do their thing, and we learn from it, and you know, and then we walk away and we decide what we're gonna do after that.
Okay.
The timing, I'm good with moving it, obviously, because I moved it, and there was just too much going on at the time. But let's just think about, you know, what we can commit to,
Mhm.
and also, to your point, I mean, I'd open up to Stephen and Tiffany. I wouldn't keep them out of this, you know, I'd bring them in because I'm thinking I'm gonna bring them in.
Yeah.
And you might say there's a couple other people that, well, shoot, we haven't really formally talked to them, but, you know, Jennifer, have you ever taken this? Because it'd be cool for you to be a part of it. So I would also leverage it for the small group, because you might say to yourself, and I think you were heading there a little bit, you might say to yourself, well, hey guys, why don't you guys try to come too? Because no matter who takes the group, it's still gonna be helpful.
Mhm.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
But again, the timing, I get it, is critical. So right now, it's the 23rd. If we don't believe that's enough time to prep and rev and get people in, let's move it to March. There's another date in March.
I have another question for you.
Go
Is
for
this a, pencil and paper, note-taking kind of thing?
No.
Do we need tables and whatnot, or we just sit back and listen?
It's groups, it's some teaching and then group sessions. They're breakouts, so you do role plays in groups of 3,
Well, I was just trying to figure out where,
the best place.
well, logistics wise, you know, if we had tables in the sanctuary, so we ride on and do that kind of stuff, or
No,
Just didn't know exactly what we're
SATs,
looking at.
the activity center. I think it's perfectly set up for it, and then people can just go to the separate rooms or different areas, because it's usually 30 people, that's 10 little groups. Basically is the way they do it. So that'd be my play. I would not put it in the sanctuary.
I will agree with Mike, like when we did what's that event from 10 to 4 that we did? You can hear people across tables. It's hard to focus. So there has to be.
Oh, I know what you're saying, the Brave Night?
No, the
the
planning thing that we did.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we could open up different rooms for the breakout pieces.
That's
But
that's
the
probably
main,
what is asked.
the main sessions would be in the activity center.
Right.
when
Yes.
You've got your speaker, and then
Mm-hmm.
we just have, once we would know who the group leaders would be, we would
Right.
say,
Then you send them
you're gonna
places.
take your group to this room, you're gonna take, and then that's just where
Right.
they would go every breakout time. Cause you stay with the same group, if I remember.
I think you
right.
do.
Once you're assigned a group for that training, you're with that group for the whole thing, so.
Mike, we need to fix the projector.
Is it broke?
No, we need
I
to
don't
run the
really
cable.
just run the cable. Did we, okay, I don't wanna go there. I don't wanna dig down in this hole. We did agree that the projection point is at the front, correct?
It's the first time I heard that there's an agreement in the front.
Well, I don't know a better way to do it, but that's just me.
Okay. Who's in agreement to put it in the front?
I think now that we don't have a sound booth in the back.
Yeah, that sort of ends that
Put it
debate,
in the
right?
front, so,
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, then there you go.
All right, cool,
Done.
excellent. So, does that answer your question, Mike?
Yeah, 'cause I just was trying to figure out where we're gonna do this at.
Uh-huh.
Cause you get in the sanctuary, you get lost, cause everyone spreads out.
Right.
You know, you want it to be kinda close together, but if I gotta have papers and notes and,
No.
you know, then
Lights.
it's a little bit different
See what
that
you're
way.
doing?
Do we need to have like sound systems set up in the activity room?
There has to be.
Do we
I
have
would.
projectors, you know?
Yeah, those two
Those are the
things.
kind of things I'm thinking of is, you know, what do we need to accomplish what we wanna do?
Got it. No, yeah, it's John perfectly represented it.
Don't they have books? Don't they
They
give?
do, they give you a little booklet that you write in.
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
So there might be
Those are
some,
only writing
there might be
pieces.
Yes.
some note taking during the main sessions, but you definitely will take your packets
Yeah,
to your breakout sessions. And the way the breakout sessions work was you have one facilitator for the group, and it's usually like groups maybe of at the most 5 people. And you'll have a section, so they'll teach on a particular section, you'll go to your breakout group, and then in your books, you'll dive a little bit deeper into that particular thing, and then they'll even have like mock-up scenarios where you practice, like for speaking the truth in love, they'll give you a scenario and, okay, now you need to present this to Mike, and this is the situation, how are you gonna communicate this to Mike? And they'll have you to kind of mock up a scenario there, and then the facilitator will kind of help, you know, as you guys are having your interaction. So it's training and then on-hand implementation of what you just learned, of how you're gonna do this
That's fine, I
going
just
forward, so.
wanna make sure cause I wanna be as good as we can do at the time.
Yeah,
Rather than get there finally like, oh, well, we can't do this, we can't do. That's the reason why I asked the question.
Yeah.
well, so they're gonna have to, whoever, and this is back to the how we use the facility, whoever's gonna sort of lead the, you know, coordination of them and us would have to meet with them ahead of time and just go through the routine. So we may have to think about how that's organized and who's gonna do it, and, you know, do we pull, you know, particular specific people in to make sure that we can set it up properly.
I don't want us to, you know, to be sidetracked. Just want to ask the question on Brittany and those groups. What are we planning to bring them closer?
Well, that's why the onboarding is a topic. And so, yeah, we have to sort of craft together what we think that should be. I have ideas, but that's why I put it up there.
Do you think it would be good for them to?
Not initially. I think the biggest onboarding requirement when people come to the church is understanding the vision, understanding the values that we talk about from a leadership standpoint, creating the environment.
Yeah.
I think those are the critical pieces. And then there's a little bit of here's some history and here's some understanding of who's who.
Yeah.
I think if you do that in a couple of sessions, then you're pretty good, and at least people come on board and sort of know where to navigate. And later on, they're gonna have to figure out, so where do I fit, and what kind of contribution can I make? What are my giftings and so forth, and that has yet to be developed.
They've been coming here for what, few months now?
About to.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a topic for sure.
Yeah, my biggest thing is I want to make sure that whatever we learn here, that we take and make it into our own curriculum. Because at the end of at the end of the day, that's where we're gonna have to lead people and train people from our core values. And obviously, I don't know anything about this, but I believe obviously you guys have learned a lot from it. I just want to make sure whatever we learn there, we don't just sit on it, but we take it.
I agree with you.
And we craft our own little thing. Or
No, I mean,
it's like a booklet or something.
Yeah, and they're good with it, just having worked with them, they don't care. They're just like, there's some basic principles that everybody should have. How you weave it together, man.
And it should be easy, because the one day we were here all day, we just laid out all of our values, and I mean, I think we all kind of understand what we're trying to accomplish, so.
We're getting there.
It'd be difficult.
I think we're getting there, but thank you for reinforcing the idea that yes, when people come, we gotta do something. The Steve and Tiffany, those were easy. We've kept up with them. We sat with them a few times just to make sure that we answered questions and had a sense of who they were. Probably should do the same thing with each one of these guys, not as a group, but as individuals. But then, yeah, let's tell them what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And so that they really can connect and figure it out more quickly.
When I listen to this, I think it's appropriate for the volunteers in the jungle room.
I mean, yeah.
And that's Steve and Tiffany, and that's Jeff Covis.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
There's a women's Bible study on Thursday nights. That Tiffany came for the first time this past Thursday.
Good.
With Anna and Jennifer and Rita and Sheila and Rhonda. And so, and that's what better environment to be able to speak the truth in love than in a Bible study. I think.
Yeah, there's a connection.
Where you said small groups, I think that's appropriate for an invitation.
Good. No, so yeah, but then when you're talking about it, I'm like, okay, so maybe this, once you sort of figure out the onboarding, maybe there's people that have been around here that need to be onboarded. Not because they're bad, but because we've never really sat with them and said, hey, do you guys get where we're going with this?
Yeah, I think for the onboarding piece, I think it's very similar to some of the stuff we would do with CTS as far as various trainings and making sure that as people are coming on, if you're taking some sort of a leadership role with SOZO, that it's a requirement that you go through each of these classes. If you're just a Sunday attender, the classes are still available, but it's not necessarily a requirement that you go for them. But I think that if you take any kind of a leadership style role in SOZO, that it becomes a requirement that over a certain period of time, you do need to take, this course of classes, and we could even use the community builder to track, who's been through the courses. And then, like you said, I think that it would be good too to go back and look at some of the people that are currently volunteering and have been here for a while and onboard them through everything as well. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. So, just got work to do there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have an ask, and the ask is, have we promoted this enough to be able to have it 2 weeks from today?
Well, that's why it was pushed back, because we hadn't, and so we have to decide right now. We have to say, is it 2 weeks? Is that too quick, or should we push it to March?
I think, looking at the group that we have right here, plus all the names we just said, that is almost 30 people. If we just, instead of announcing it, we just pull those
Just
people
invite
aside.
people?
Yeah, just go individually, go to Stephen and Tiffany, go to Jennifer, go to Sheila, go to Rita, go to people who are currently serving or have served, and see if this is something they'd be interested in.
Can someone own it? Have a list of names, put some weeks and days, and find out if they can make it on a particular week, starting on the 23rd. And then from there, we can have a decision, when to do it.
Going once?
That looks like you, bro.
What?
I said that looks like you.
Me doing it? Then it's not the 23rd. It'll be March.
I can-
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I can head up the recruitment, I guess, if you wanna call it that. Of the
Or if
people.
like, if you have your own group, you know the people underneath you, your,
Yeah,
the group,
I'd
the
sign
people
up for
underneath you.
talking to
Then let's-
volunteers.
Yeah, it's just, for me, the first question is, can you do it in 2 weeks? And I don't believe you can.
I don't think you
I
can.
think it's March, so that's the first decision point, so I'm good.
Recruiting in 2 weeks?
Yeah, in other words, if we were telling them we wanted to do it in 2 weeks, so
Oh,
EMI.
yeah,
That's too soon.
Right,
Yeah, giving people that much heads up. Okay,
right,
that's
so we made that decision. That decision is we're moving it to March.
Yeah,
So
Um,
that March the 9th, when we have the original,
What's that?
it'll be March 9th then, which is the original time we said we were gonna do
It's the
MI.
20-something of March. It's almost a month after, the 23rd of February. So the open date now is February 23rd, given we didn't do the 9th. The next one is gonna be in March, March
Yeah,
20-something.
We
Yeah,
talked
I
about
thought
that
it was
on
March 23rd.
There's the 23rd and the 30th of March.
Good,
No, but I
Well,
mean,
we
we were
originally
talking
had
about
it
doing
there,
March
so
9th,
March
originally.
9th is
It
was
was
the
like one
original
a month.
date.
for a
Right.
while.
right. What's that?
We were talking about doing one a month there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're not gonna do it on March,
You
nothing
know-
on March 9th, then we're gonna get all the way to the end of the month?
The available date is March 23rd.
Okay.
So see if your schedule can support that. No? I mean, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's
It's-
okay.
We're just gonna have
It's gonna be hit or miss for,
Can I,
people anyway, regardless.
can I be a little forward in the sense of saying that specifically you guys, we really need to make sure that whatever date we pick is a date that you guys are absolutely gonna make it.
Mhm.
The ones that have already been through it, if you can make it,
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
that's helpful, but yeah.
But
absolutely.
focusing more on
Yeah.
what are the dates for you guys, because this is a requirement for you guys to be there. And then
Mhm.
we'll work with everybody else as best we can, but there's a certain core group that they're the prime for these first
Right.
few ones that we're going through,
Yeah.
and kind of base the dates off of that, and then kind of move forward with whoever else can join on that particular. And then going forward, as we start to bring it in-house and we're doing it on our own, we can continue to have those classes and people can start to join, but
Good point,
Yeah.
yeah.
maybe for
Yeah,
this first
good with
few,
that.
we're looking more at these
Yep.
guys. And I'm thinking, you three, Nick, Dustin, any of the young group that's coming up that's starting to take some key leadership stuff in the
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. And on the other side, I don't want the older people to bail.
right, right.
So yes, if you can come, the value is not just in the content, but it's in the experience together.
Mhm.
It's the doing it together, because those groups actually can be a lot of fun. And so if I'm working with Landon and Caleb and we're just talking through this stuff, it actually gives a different, a different value to our relationship. So, okay. So
I
sometime
will
March.
say on the 23rd, I actually do already have something in February. 23rd.
February?
It is
Yeah,
February.
March.
March.
Oh, it's not March 23rd.
We just moved it, yeah.
Oh, you just moved it.
March, it's not the 23rd, it's like 25th, isn't
I'm
it?
gonna be sick that day.
Oh,
Sorry.
it is?
23rd.
23rd.
What's that? You going to Ireland again?
Yeah. One day.
No, he said February. He said he's not available in February, so.
No, I
He's
know.
free in
I was
March.
messing.
I'm free in March. It's not bad. Yeah.
EMI.
He lost track of where we were.
I was
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, can I make?
It's like, you with us? Earth the Caleb?
It's good.
All right, cool. So we will have to over communicate it to make sure that, we lock it in and everybody knows. But it's a day commitment for sure. All right, that's EMI. So we talked Valentine's Day, EMI, Easter, just a thought. Power to redeem as the overarching theme.
There we go.
Not the song per se, but the idea.
The theme.
Can
Yeah.
He-Man be the branding for it?
Who?
Can He-Man be the birthday?
The barbarian? No, but the idea being, especially since we're coming out of baptisms,
Yeah.
sort of this transformative power that God brings, right? This redemptive power. It's gonna connect to SOZO very well, I think, because that's what SOZO talks about. But really focusing in, maybe even thinking about some kind of skit to the Power to Redeem song, you know, as a backdrop, but then, you know, filling in obviously the worship pieces around just the power of the Holy Spirit, that resurrection power, how it transforms us, what it does for and to us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's sort of at least what I'm thinking.
It was just funny because you walked in and just said "power to redeem."
I
and
did.
It was just like,
It's like
need more context.
Right.
It's so weird.
That's what it was,
and
man.
now it all makes sense. Everything
Like-
falls together.
Okay, see, there was a rational thought there. But no, it
I feel
just
like that's
feels
I
like,
feel like that's like a trait of a crazy person. Just like learn stuff that you think. I'm pretty sure that's proven.
oh, really?
It's
No, it's a
ADHD
process that's,
process.
it's a thing in process, right? So if I'm crazy, then I'm crazy, but it just, man, it started to feel like, yeah, I can see that. Now, I think if we can at all possible, let's make Easter big.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I would
We got
love
time.
to make
It's
it.
not till the end of April. That's
Well,
so much time.
That's why,
That's insane.
sort of picking a theme now might just get traction.
I'm gonna start working on like the look of it so that we can start promoting it.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the day, we know the time. We don't need like in depth until like
No.
a month before, at least like for the public.
Well, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
for the
to
public. For
yeah.
us, we need to know in depth, absolutely. But I'm saying all we need to like promote it to the public for now is a name, time, place, kind of a feel, but we need to know everything.
And we gotta know that it's big, we gotta know that it's outreach, it is, you want as many people to come as possible, and we wanna reach them where they are. That will also set the tenor for it, right?
So it's the 21st
Oh.
of April.
I think so.
Yeah.
What is the
It's up
possibility?
there on the calendar.
Yep.
Yeah, it
What is the
21st.
possibility of us having at least the front of the building painted?
I don't know, depends on how much the building's gonna
By
pay.
when?
So,
The 21st of April.
just depends on how.
You think in April?
Yeah.
It's snowed on Easter before.
Yeah,
It's
but
gonna
we
warm
got
up and
40 days till spring.
Yeah, it's gotta warm up before.
Yeah.
It
Well,
has to be
there's-
like at least
I don't
60
know.
something.
But you
First
gotta-
day of spring, it could snow.
Last week it
So
was
high.
60. So
It depends on what you wanna do. I would challenge the grounds team to think about, what's the first thing you wanna do? And how much is that?
Yeah.
Because if there's just putting color on the building somewhere, that's easier. But if it's doing the whole front face, that's completely different.
Mhm.
So just
But
think
you have
about
to
it.
watch your temperature too, your temperature's not warm.
No, yeah,
Sometimes by April, it's just not warm enough.
Yeah.
right, absolutely right. So just think about it. If we can
I just
spruce
think
it
we're ahead
up,
of it.
yeah, I think you can spruce it up, but then that team should just think about, what can I do to make the curb appeal go up? You know, by the event, and I'm good with a specific focus around, well, we put some banners up, we put something across the glass. I mean, we did something to enhance it that wasn't everything.
Yeah.
So now, you know, let's set the stake in the ground. It's like, no, Easter needs to be big, it needs to be powerful. It needs to link both the SOZO vision and the stuff that we've been on track to do
Yeah.
into this idea of drawing people to the cross, or drawing people to that power of Jesus, you know? And yes, the song inspired me. I'll just be, you listen, those words, I don't care what anybody says about her, I've said that multiple times. You gotta listen to those songs, somebody that's ungodly cannot come up with that. I would challenge that people that don't know the Lord can't come up with those words, so. The words are powerful in terms of sort of describing what it is I think we want to do.
So we need to figure out who's gonna be on the team to set that service.
Yeah, timing wise, you guys tell me, when should we start?
I think right now.
Okay.
I think if we want it to be big, we need to start talking about it now.
Yesterday.
Plans.
Okay. And we're way ahead of it.
You want it inside or outside?
gonna be too cold, remember?
Well,
Maybe it's really out.
yeah, there's,
It's gonna be too cold.
it's like, yeah, it's gonna snow.
Painting?
Yeah, for painting it'd be too cold.
The service would be
The
cold too,
service,
man.
yeah.
You got snow in the parking lot.
Now they're
Oh,
talking about
he
10
got
degree
you.
weather.
No.
Got you.
We're used to 10-degree weather, it's not cold.
No.
Well, you can go outside.
It'll be too cold.
All the warm people can go outside. So anyway,
Let's wait to see how March is. Okay, I'm telling you right now. April's gonna
Isn't
be.
it early
I think as
spring?
far as
Thank
sales
you.
goes, to make it big, inside would be best, just because of all
It
the
didn't
capability we
Well,
have.
it did.
Lights and sound and praise and worship and stuff like
I
that.
slid off the road.
I just didn't know if you wanted to do like a
I slid off.
Sunrise
service
service.
someplace, a little small thing, a breakfast then before service where people come to, or
no, it's a good question.
just trying to figure out
That'd be
where
nice.
you're wanting to run with this to do your thing. I mean, it is Easter.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of people do sunrise, or they used to back where I was at.
True.
Yeah.
It's,
You know, you got that space between then and church time that's
yeah.
kind of dead space, and you fill in with a breakfast or a meet and greet or whatever you want to do with it from there.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the brainstorm, right?
Yeah,
But I agree with John that let's get a team of us to start noodling it,
Yeah.
creatively thinking about it.
Do we want to do like a Good Friday and Easter Sunday?
I mean, you know what?
That's what a
It's-
lot of people.
I know. Depends on a lot of things. If we, this is always gonna be, do we have the energy to put behind doing it?
Yeah.
And so if we're ahead of it, right, we're way ahead of it. And so if we say to ourselves, no, actually this year, I'd love to do a sunrise service and, we can do it, but then it's like, okay, we're the people that are gonna get it done.
What is the sunrise service?
At sunrise,
It's
an
an early
outside
morning
they do a
service.
service.
It's outside.
But it's just, yes, it's supposed to be more of an open.
It's unmillennial.
Is it?
They might like it.
For real.
You don't know if they're gonna like
Do we?
it.
I will say though. I will
Sunrise,
say.
what's that?
They,
Yeah.
I
they
will
still
say-
might be up.
I'm not a millennial, so
He's
You're
not.
I just like to say that.
He's not.
I'm not a millennial. And
What
neither
are
are
you
any of
guys?
these guys. So.
And people should know.
What are you?
My brothers are
What are you
millennials,
then?
and that explains so much.
Generation X.
We're
Gen
Generation
X.
X.
They are.
Oh, yeah, you
So
guys are
just 10
different.
times better than millennials.
Gen X.
We're better.
Not a generation X
And the-
either.
That means
I don't know that
What?
it's 10 times better, they didn't even wanna name you, that's why you just got it.
That's fine because we were
Just
so
like
chill.
Malcolm.
No, we were
Just
so
like, what are we
chill.
gonna call these guys?
We were so
Just put it
chill
next
and
line.
not in the way that they were like, yeah,
There we
just
go.
whatever. My brothers are the most like dramatic babies I've ever met in my entire life. And it explains
Gen
so much.
X are basically variants of millennials.
Better, yeah.
Let's get back to the
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're like the
Enough
better.
of that.
We're like the better half. No, I agree, man.
So
We're
the
much better.
sunrise service, the significance of it is the resurrection.
Mhm.
So we
That's
wear
why it's
robes.
sunrise. Hmm?
We wear-
No, we wouldn't wear robes until we go to the river. When we do that, we'll do it. But it's really so that as the sun comes up, we're recognizing the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
For the sunrise service, just some thoughts, but, I mean, it seems like you have some heart behind that. I
I'm
don't
just
know that
thinking
there's
about
like
the times with me growing up, I mean,
I know.
we never missed a sunrise service. Of course, you gotta remember, this is farm community, everyone gets up, crack a dawn.
It's the
I'm
sunrise.
not
Forget your
still on
chickens.
the table. But we'd have sunrise service, go and have breakfast, and then we'd release the kids out for an Easter egg hunt before we had church.
That's what I want to do. I want to do an Easter egg hunt.
See what I'm
That
saying? I
was
mean,
sick.
it was like
Um,
all
it was
day
a whole thing.
event
Okay.
for the whole
But
thing.
it will be too
that you had to
cold.
plan out to do.
That's gonna be too cold.
It will be too cold.
But good point, because we're not all millennials or Gen Xers. There are some people here that remember that and might even come to that as an outreach simply because they remember having grown up that way.
Remember as a kid.
So, but what my point was gonna be was, we're gonna establish a team to figure out, okay, what is the Sunday service gonna look like?
Mhm.
Maybe for the sunrise service piece, maybe that's something that, if you took that part, you would put together kind of a simple message, and it's not, the sunrise service piece isn't some big blown out thing, it's more of just a, kind of a, more of a low key,
Right.
I like
you
it.
know,
Low key, direct to the point,
direct to the point kind of a thing.
and hopefully it
And-
hits exactly what you want them to think about for the space in between for those
Ooh,
service
I
cars.
see.
Right,
I
and then
see
so you
paint
would
around
take,
your feet.
so if you wind up taking,
What?
There's paint around your feet. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, great.
You'll be in the corner in a minute, but you're heading there. I love the idea.
I have no problem doing a sunrise service, okay? It was something I remember a lot as a kid. But what Logan brings up as the point is they're night owls.
Yeah.
Maybe the Friday service
Good Friday.
would be better for their generation or that
Could
age
be.
group. Where we do basically the same kind of a thing, you know, we set it up for getting ready for Sunday to bring them back in with them tying something after that or before it or something. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm
it's
just
an
saying that
interesting thought.
there's different ways that we can play that, so we could do all three if we had the energy for it.
Yeah, and we had, okay, somebody's leading this one, somebody, to his point.
I guess what I was thinking though was, it seems like the sunrise service would be more connected to an older generation.
Right.
They would appreciate that
Yes,
more.
it would.
We could have that be geared more towards that
Right.
generation and the folks that would appreciate that. And then whatever we come up with the main service, I think it's probably gonna be something that's definitely going to hit a younger generation and hopefully be able to span across a bunch of, you know,
Right.
multiple generations. But I think that that's something that the younger group is probably gonna be more into depending on what we do with it.
So the question is, which group are we wanting to target? That- that's
Oh,
what I'm hearing you say.
All of them.
No, I think he's getting at
You can
It's
multiple
both.
ones.
Yeah, so the sunrise service is more for the older generation that
Which is
remembers
fine.
that, appreciates that. And then, not to say that anybody else can't come, but it's probably gonna be something more for that generation that's gonna really appreciate it. And then the main service that starts at 10 or whatever we come up with that would be more, a little bit of a younger feel to that part of the service. And then, you know, the older folks or whoever would come to the sunrise would be able to then just automatically transition right into the thing. And then if we did some sort of a ACON or something, either in between the two or right after service or something like that, you know, then we're tying in the
Yeah, I'm not saying we
families
have to
and.
have an egg hunt, please, hear me there, but I'm just trying to think of activities we
Sure.
did to fill in the time, because
Oh, we've done
We
ACONs
should
in the
drop
past.
one. We should drop one from a helicopter.
Oh my goodness.
That would
only
be
if
sick.
it's a turkey.
Only if I get to do the riser thing, where I
No.
rise from the,
That
you
would
know,
be
the
sick.
depths of the
If
stage
we get
or
a
something.
helicopter just to do a big, just
we're
a
gonna do
drop.
Big drop.
In that
We're gonna
massive
do that
field.
thing where you're suspended.
Yeah, that's what I wanna
Across the
do.
ceiling.
I wanna do this.
Is risen.
So anyway, okay, so I like the sunrise service idea. And I agree with you that the main service would be more family and young, right? And then you could do something after church, I'm good with that. And then, so it's more of a day. You'd actually, as much overlap as you can get would be positive, because I think some people might come to sunrise and stay for a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? Even though there's a gap between the two, they might stay and we can sort of entertain them a little bit.
Well,
until
what time are we
they go.
thinking about with the sunrise? I mean, I know it's the
Sunrise.
but you know what I mean?
They're usually like.
That's like
between
7-ish.
6:30 and
Yeah,
7.
6:30 and 7.
Y'all can't be in our way
6.
when we're setting up Sunday service.
Depends on when
Then
the
you're gonna
sun
have to
comes
set
up.
it up the night before if they
No.
do sunrise service. That was easy.
You probably need like a,
Can't make puppy.
probably have to run
I
a
feel like
tent
that won't get in
and.
the way at all, though.
chairs and
Yeah,
stuff.
so we'll plan the logistics, but
But
if
no,
we
it's-
agree, do we agree, I mean, how many of you would say, yeah,
Yeah,
let's shoot for a sunrise service? How many
We
could
could
say
do
that?
that. Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's
that
nice.
would be nice.
Go to church.
Or sleep, so millennials stay overnight,
We don't have any millennials in here.
and whatever. You
We'll
got
get
guys.
some.
The
I think
goobers,
that-
the goobers stay overnight.
I'll take it.
I think that the sunrise service, it sets the tone of calling, kind of like to me, it set the tone of the spiritual solemn portion of it, and then it's like a jubilant, you know, it ends on a jubilant.
We need to do a Facebook Live on sunrise service.
Good. Because then it would,
Would you want music?
I don't know at this point.
Okay. Yeah, it's early, I get it.
It's not like I got a whole program in my head.
Yeah, dude.
Why not?
But yeah, we would need
Everybody's
to
asking
have
us for it.
music, we would need to have some music.
I would
That, and
think.
then something, like, just like I said, something that's kind of like, cause you need to, like, you know,
I mean, we have sunrise service that drive in the movie.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Everyone just stay in their cars.
Yeah.
We have it right there, 'cause
So to your point, let's keep talking about it every meeting for the next several weeks. We should talk about it, but then think about what you would do and what you would like to do for the sunrise service.
Okay.
Since John so ably
Thanks, John.
lobbed it over to you and
We have
appropriately.
a lot of stuff to
He
do.
brought it up, didn't he?
I know, he's gonna be like, yeah.
John,
Did
he
bring
brought
it
it
up.
up.
Exactly.
Did bring it up.
He's gonna be like, John, I need some
It's
video
all
and.
on you.
You need to invite WCP.
To my defense,
I haven't
Who
heard
knows?
about sunrise.
one, because you brought it up,
Yeah,
but
it is.
I'm just
Good
like,
play, that's
how well that you do with communion and stuff like that.
He does. He does a
An
great job.
intimate type service like that.
exactly,
You do,
exactly.
you do amazing at those types of
He
things.
does.
That's why I
Everything, guys.
was just like,
Absolutely.
Okay, sunrise
I saw the paint going down,
on the
man.
21st is at 6:52 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I figured, 6 o'clock.
6:52.
6:52.
It's almost
That's
seven.
It's
We're calling
He's
it
saying
seven.
start it.
They'll be there at 6
No,
o'clock.
He's saying-
6 o'clock you start it, so when you
Right.
get to the end of it, the sun's popping.
The
up
sun's
on the
coming
top.
up,
But then
absolutely.
it's dark. How are you gonna see?
Yeah, let's not, he'll work that.
You have to make it 6:30, cause the message is, it's gonna be a small,
Here we go. You just.
I'm already doing
you
the
should-
timetable for you.
Mike, if you're really honest,
There's
you're
a
like,
partner up there.
so
The wife-
Nancy,
They're not here, the wife.
your team just
Wife,
became,
take over.
No, you're gonna see administrator, like, okay, you got this piece.
You
okay,
got that,
piece, you
right.
got- I'm just gonna sit back and let 'em come.
it's cool.
There you go.
That would
And
be
yes,
cool
that can
though
be a
if
bit
we
of
could
an
do like
outreach.
breakfast or something in between and then that way,
I like that
That way
idea.
no one's late to service.
right?
I like
And
that.
you could have people eat outside. I mean, if
It's
we
gonna
do
be
like
too
a
cold.
tent and so.
Everything will freeze.
Yeah.
The Catholics, they do
I
a
like the idea.
drive-through and they put ash on your forehead, right?
That's Ash
That's on Ash
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I'm good.
No, I'm just thinking about the sunrise, if you can do like a drive-through.
Oh, a drive-through sunrise.
Drive to.
Or drive by.
Drive by, drive to.
Good.
I mean, okay, so that's two pieces, so a
That's
sunrise
next year
service
now. That's
and maybe
your job next
breakfast.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you signed up, you just did.
I know, he got
Okay,
it.
so we'll start this with the arrest, with the, we'll have them drive by with little TVs and stages as we go through around the building.
Oh my goodness.
Why don't we just
The stages
put,
are
why don't we
wrong,
just,
right?
why don't we just put
Now we're becoming
the,
Catholic.
a screen out there, put a projector out
Uh-huh.
there. Mike, you stay in the building and then have people just park in their cars and watch the sun come up. You're projected on the
Or we could
screen
project
there.
Let's
Passion
not.
of the Christ, just the whole movie.
No.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
It
moving
might
right
be-
along. It is 10:10. I
Okay.
know some other people have meetings. I thought somebody was starting at 10. Is that true?
Nope.
Embrace is not. What did you guys move to
Noon.
noon?
New.
All right.
Noon.
Yeah.
That's what it's been in the chat all week.
Yeah, I saw that. I ignored it.
All right.
Yeah, I mean noon, that's
Don't
too
you
late
love
for
that?
me. I
Then
mean,
people are like,
I
"I don't know
got
what's
some
going on."
commitments after in the afternoon. It's
Well, I was assuming that this meeting, the anchor meeting, was gonna go on until 11.
Yeah, why, it's only 10.
No, it started at 9.
It's 10:30.
No,
Yeah,
it's been 11.
It's been an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be.
No, it's not. We used to go from
It
8
is,
to 10.
it is
No,
never
you
been
guys-
an hour.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's never been an
Let's
hour.
go back again.
No, we are
This
not
is
even-
where
Not
listening
even
for
once.
heaven's sake, right?
Not even once has it been an hour.
Yeah, we've gone from 8
No,
to
I
10.
get that, but
Let's make
let's
it-
be clear. The first hour is the anchor team, and the second hour, which we said last couple of times, we want
It's
to
never
move
been an
toward.
hour.
It doesn't matter. We're moving toward a place where if people are calling those meetings, they're calling them after the anchor meeting.
Yeah,
And so that's what we did
we'll have
last
a meeting.
time.
I would say like
Bring people
10:30
in.
though.
No, there's times when we can keep going, but remember, again, since we've deployed these teams, we're trying to give them some time to get together after we meet. I'm okay with keeping going if there's nothing else.
let's make it.
I was kinda hoping to meet SOZO kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, this
because
is
we had
why.
talked about that too.
And you said, so we won't go much longer,
And I was
because I
hoping
want
to
you
meet
guys to do it.
with the building team. So.
Well, then you guys better get to do.
Well, and we were hoping to meet with the stage team this morning, but
But
certain
this
people
guy,
But nobody showed up.
This
so-
guy who called it wasn't even here.
And
Well,
this
I couldn't
guy
call it.
who's on the team wasn't even here.
Oh, this
Now,
guy.
hang
Don't
on.
even, yeah, don't
now,
even go there.
Now hang on a second.
Uh-oh.
I said sometime midweek, and then it got
Is this
pushed to
that
8.
week?
This is why we,
This is not.
This is
this
why.
midweek.
it will
Now,
be
hold on a second,
complicated.
because when we talked on Sunday, you specifically said, yeah, 8 o'clock will work.
Yeah,
So,
I was there.
I was definitely no.
I
Hang
said
on.
that
I did say that, but I did not have that optimism in my voice.
I didn't say anything.
So,
Not even a little bit.
it's like, I said yes, but I didn't mean it.
That's why I pleaded the fifth. When they said eight, when they said eight, I was like,
It was like, okay, so the principle here, speaking the truth in love, is if you really don't intend to come, say no.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey,
I just don't say.
I know, some
I
people do
intend
that.
to come.
can
I
we
got
make
you.
a
I'm messing
decision
with
on
you.
whether we're having an egg hunt or not? Because
Ooh.
that also takes prep.
Okay?
So what's the, yes?
No,
How many people
Well,
say yes,
I'm
we're
not
having an
saying-
egg
Think
hunt?
about it. All we're gonna do is drop
I'll
it
help
from a helicopter, so we won't need that much prep besides putting this stuff.
So anyway, how many people are saying yes, let's have an egg hunt?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's
I'll-
not.
I'm either
9
way.
o'clock?
I'll help stuff.
Egg
I'll
hunt?
help hide them. That would just be so much.
What?
fun.
No, you don't need to hide them if they're being
Okay, so
dropped
now
from the
everybody,
helicopter.
maybe we're hungry.
I'll
Do it
just-
now.
I'm saying I'll do
Maybe
my
it's
part
not
to
that
help.
bad.
You know,
Okay, so we're saying yes on an egg hunt. I'm just saying that because as SOZO kids people,
Hmm?
we need to prep for that. We need to
Get that.
think about that. And if you guys wanna hide them, that'd be fantastic.
Oh,
We won't need to
man,
because we're
don't-
dropping them from a helicopter.
Okay,
So
all right,
moving
you
right
are in
along.
charge of getting, you are also in charge
Yes,
of
ma'am.
picking up all the egg pieces if that comes from the helicopter, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm a servant. I will do as.
Now, in other words,
you're also in charge of paying for the rental of a helicopter.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
ah, there
that.
we go.
Yeah.
Out of your
I mean,
own
We're
funds.
tax exempt,
That's
so.
worth it.
sure it'll be-
Oh, you'll get a break,
Yeah,
for
it'll be
sure.
good. It'll be good.
They'll give you, yeah, normally it's 10 grand, but yeah, for you, it's $9.99.
$9.50.
Yeah, there we
It's a
go.
public
That's
service.
funny.
They'll go
They
easy
all
on
show
you.
up for that, man.
Yeah, we'll
All
just
right.
get a shooter like Jerry's.
I'm actually gonna look into it, and
No
if it's
shooter.
dude, watch.
You're
They're
gonna
gonna
be
be
killing little children. I mean, that's just
An
not
egg
good.
drop? No, you drop it.
Just shoot the eggs out.
What are you talking about? Oh, I'm not
Like a
talking about
baseball.
that.
She's talking about.
Potato
Oh,
gun.
we're talking
Yeah,
about
I
like
know,
a
you guys
t-shirt.
are.
We're talking about like a
Talking about
t-shirt.
All right, so I guess we are doing an egg hunt.
Yes.
I'm not sure at this point.
All right.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know what you do? You drop the eggs first.
The
and then you
helicopter
release
thing
the
isn't gonna
kids.
happen, but the egg thing.
The swarm.
Why
But
don't you-
imagine the
if you-
promotion.
Can you pull up a video?
Imagine. Yes, I will. Imagine the promotion. Because
For
like,
real.
I don't
there's
think
a-
anybody's-
That's for real
Yes.
happen. I thought you were joking.
I don't think
No,
anybody's
the
gonna buy it
church-
until they
it's-
see
No, the
it.
church that Robin, what's his last name?
Wilkerson.
No, Robin and Mary.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of
Robin
their
and
last
Mary.
name. Yeah, the church that they go to in Florida, they do an egg drop from,
A helicopter?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
it's
dude.
kinda
It's huge.
crazy.
It's incredible.
If I knew.
You know anybody that has
just-
a helicopter?
Just get the fire truck.
I know a few people.
oh.
Get the what?
Dude,
Fire
The fire
truck?
truck.
Yeah,
Put
get
the
them up on
ladder.
there.
And you have like a Nerf gun and just do that.
Just take kids out.
They
I'll
just
do
won't
that.
guarantee that they'll be here,
Man,
cause they'll get
I'll
a
tell
call,
Yeah.
and they zoom off. You're like,
Aren't there
Well,
some
Loveland
legal
will go with them
implications
whenever
to
they
that?
call.
Whoa, dude.
Wow.
I'm
You guys probably
that
have to have a
quick.
permit and stuff for that.
You could just outdo them, just rent a tank.
So
Yeah,
Sims
shoot the
Township
eggs
has
out
their
through the
great,
We're not killing
their
kids.
great
dude.
egg
No,
hunt
you
on the
can,
13th,
We are
Yeah.
way
It's
off,
a-
but
home of the brave part.
Where are they
I
having
think
it?
this meeting didn't need to.
April 13th.
Oh, dude, and they're playing the Rolling
So it's
Stones.
like the
This is the
week before.
best.
Yeah,
well, since nobody can see
you
that,
check
I'll put it up.
Loveland.
That's a video game.
What?
That's a video game.
This?
Yes.
This is not a video game. This is real life, you
We'll
dummy.
see.
This is real life. This is really good graphics for 2017. If it's
Oh, you'd be surprised.
This is not.
Sounds like a video
This is
game to me.
game, John. This is not.
Weird.
They're
Are
just
we gonna get to
listening
the
me.
actual egg drop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I think you're still on.
Egg
I
drops.
think you're a millennial.
Look,
Third video down.
look at all those real people.
That's it?
Oh.
Yeah, you just
Is
drop
this
it.
it?
Can you see it? No,
You drop all the
That's what we'll
eggs,
do.
which I'm sure all of them break.
Yeah, well, why would I?
I know, wouldn't it, yeah, you'd think they'd break when they hit the ground.
Well, it's grass, so they probably don't.
He's definitely in marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, the guys that just sort of randomly come up with ideas, yeah, like that.
This is a great idea. Look how many people are there. See, we're dropping eggs out of a helicopter. Who would not come?
All the little kids.
Look at all those kids.
Yeah, they're probably 14.
Are you gonna
What
put it so
14-year-old?
we can see it?
What?
I was trying to.
No, he's too slow.
What's it called?
Wow.
What's the exact name so you can look it up again?
Easter egg drop 2017. Look at all those people.
Well, they can't see it, so you're not helping them.
Yeah.
What year is that?
Yeah, really.
That's one for a while.
2000.
We got a lot of time to prepare.
There we go.
Man, you guys should be.
Type Easter egg.
That's because he's
Top 10.
he's in my.
Place
In
an
my-
egg challenge.
Type Easter egg.
Bro, are you good?
Hush.
Egg drop. Easter egg drop.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so much different.
From a helicopter.
You must be a millennial.
From
I
a
can
helicopter.
tell.
There we go, right there.
Roblox.
UH1.
Doesn't look like Loveland's doing one, just Sims Township.
Yeah, I mean we're off on a tangent, and I'm okay with that for a few minutes.
No offense though, but this would be the
Army
greatest
aviation.
marketing.
That's why they did it from a helicopter. That doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
that's just an
unless it's-
example.
But it's because they're Army aviation.
So what? That's an example.
It matters.
Because they're what?
It's the
They did it for
aviation group
foundation.
from the Army that did it, and that's their event.
Okay, but everyone does it. It doesn't matter who it is.
Can you get them to do it?
I ain't sold on that, but
I was trying to figure out why I was listening to Mick Jagger.
because
Thing.
this is like,
It's a video game, remember?
Right, that isn't too far from here.
guys, I love far-reaching thoughts, but this one's probably a little far.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it was a joke, but when you guys started saying that it wasn't real, I had to prove you wrong, and I did.
A hot air
But
balloon
anyway,
might be,
now that
hot
we've
air
gone down
balloon
that
might be
path.
more up our alley.
So do we have a?
We got a lot of hot air.
Do we have a more?
Put them in bags and drop them in that.
Yeah, rinse it out.
Oh, would you look at that? A church.
It still doesn't make it good.
A church.
They're hidden so well.
Yeah, you do.
Look like hail.
Yeah.
It's just a big pile
I'm
of
not
eggs.
sold on this one.
It looks.
Find that
It
big
looks.
pile of eggs, kids.
They look like hail.
Yeah.
Like a hailstorm.
Actually, they blindfold them. Just walk out there and grab them.
Look, it looks like hail.
Yeah. It's cute, but
I
I
just
don't
had
know
to
if
prove you
we're
guys
far enough.
wrong.
Let's see how they do it.
Will they drop them?
Now, the express thing? It would
Okay.
be fun.
I think it's time for
Flying out
breakfast.
there, get some drone footage and stuff, flying over.
I get that. I like that.
Oh, the kids get to see it?
Yeah, they're all sitting there waiting.
Yeah, dude. Look at all
Oh,
those
here we
people.
go.
So we take it now.
Who's gonna find out they're not this far?
Well, no, like we're not on
Every
that.
one of those eggs busted open as soon as they get there.
That's what I'm thinking. How are they people
Everywhere.
how are they people from not busting open?
Y'all,
But like I said,
some
the
of
eggs,
us go pick those eggs.
the eggs are hidden so well.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke, but it wouldn't work.
Look at all the bounce houses in the back.
Yeah,
Now that's why the crowd is there.
yeah.
I just had to prove you guys wrong. You guys didn't think it was real.
No, we were just not convinced it was a good idea.
I don't think it is either, but I had to prove you wrong.
Well, like next time, don't take us down that track. It's not
I already did.
Okay, we'll ignore you next time.
You guys don't have great imaginations. Look at that. Case closed.
This is a child thing, isn't it?
Yes, it's an Easter egg.
No, I mean the whole debate.
No.
It's like you gotta
It's an
prove
Easter egg.
you gotta prove we're better wrong. So let's move along because we're done with that. So
Easter egg and a
Easter
potato gun.
Huh? No, I all of a sudden I don't want to talk about Easter egg hunts anymore. Because it's like, we'll be like, well, let's shoot them from a UFO. It's like, no, let's not.
I mean,
So if anybody
we'd be the
wants
first
to,
church to do that.
I agree with
That would
that.
be
But
pretty sick.
I
So-
don't think it's a good use of
We'd,
funds.
we'd go down in history if we shot it from a UFO.
So let's land the plane, okay? Let's take it out of the stratosphere, right? And if someone wants to come up with the ideas, and it sounds like you guys are gonna come up with the Easter egg thing.
Easter egg hunt. On
So yes, we wanna
Are
do
you
it.
good with the Easter egg hunt, Dan?
Cousin Michael,
2019.
on this
cousin
side.
Michael
No, yes,
flies
Why don't we
up.
wait a second?
not really? No, okay,
He's not a fan of Easter egg hunts.
okay.
If,
What about on the moon?
guys, if not, then come up with an alternative. How about that? Either we do an Easter egg hunt or something else, but think about something that's fun and
Yeah,
attractive
an
to other
alternative.
people. Because I think that's the other part of this.
Yeah,
It needs to reach out. It
Yeah.
needs to get attention. So we can't be so focused on us. We gotta say to ourselves, okay, what would be actually godly, but then would reach out to people. So that's where I'm
Can
parking.
I
at.
challenge something?
No, I don't wanna talk
No,
about this
seriously.
anymore.
Like, obviously, we're not gonna do this. Obviously,
No,
it
we're
was a
not. So
joke.
can we stop
No,
talking about it?
obviously it was a joke, but to deny the fact that getting people's attention
No, we get
by
that.
dropping, like, that would get so many people's attention.
There are
So
probably,
you can never say that it wouldn't because it
there's
would.
probably other ways to get people's
I
attention.
agree, and I don't think it's a good idea.
Part-time job, you have to pay for your helicopter?
Well, yeah,
But-
see, this is the
No,
rat
no,
hole we'll
no,
go down.
I'm not
but-
being
but-
serious.
No, we're,
So you're taking it a little too serious. But to
no,
deny
I'm
the
trying
fact
to move on.
to deny the fact that it would attract a lot
We
of people.
get that, nobody debates that.
You just did.
No, nobody debated that. No, everybody's trying to make it reasonable so that it's like, okay, we get it. That's the outlandish,
Yes.
solution, but
Yes.
yeah, they'll work on something else.
Who's that?
we have to figure it out.
I'm
Me.
so empty.
So no helicopters, kidding.
No, I think there's a gap there that would be hard to close.
And cousin Michael flies a helicopter.
So,
Did you hear that?
oh God, anyway, let's move on, cause
Get some breakfast.
that's done.
Huh?
Drones. You
What?
see Mike's?
No, John already talked about
Mike's
that.
got it.
Yeah, drone.
The idea is the eggs have to tag.
All right, so this meeting's over, so far as I'm concerned. Let's eat something and move on.
Dude,
We can have some fun, but
lighten up.
no,
Lighten up.
hey, be
You're
quiet.
tired.
You know what?
You got a long drive home.
No, I'm tired of the nonsense
But-
with you.
Lighten up.
You know what? You need to straighten up
You got
and
it.
be the good guy
I
that you're
am.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
The godly man that
Maybe-
actually is focused and disciplined.
I know,
instead
but
of
you
this
know what?
millennial.
Who keeps us thinking about
Weird stuff.
current ways of,
But that one, okay, so let's
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest.
he is out
That
on the
one
limb.
was
Yeah.
way
It
the
was a
heck out.
joke.
Mike's out on the limb.
It
He
was
wants
a
to get
joke.
real
Well, we're giving you
eggs,
feedback, so be okay.
real eggs.
No, but
We're giving you
Unboiled
feedback.
eggs.
but to think that
Feedback.
that
That would be
deal,
bad.
that just shows you guys
Well,
are.
then, we're giving you feedback.
Look,
And I know it's hard for a
That's not
millennial to
feedback.
take feedback.
That's not
I
feedback.
know it's
You have
difficult.
to-
You may have to
you have-
stabilize him.
It's been gone since he's had one.
Is that what it is?
You have to let him have that.
Oh, so he doesn't come
Do you
up with
actually
these.
think that is that outlandish?
No, it would attract attention. I
Thank
just don't
you.
know
That's-
if it
that's
would
my
attract
point.
the right attention.
That's my point. That's all.
If
I'm
you
Oh,
saying.
wanted
you didn't
to-
hear what he said.
If you
I'm
want
not
to
saying-
attract the right attention, have a paintball game out there. Let the kids shoot each other.
Oh my gosh.
How about an egg ball game?
The fact that everyone's so worked
It's an
up
egg
and a
ball
potato
game.
gun.
No, we just wanna move on.
is so funny.
Eggs and a potato gun would
Give
be
the kids
awesome.
potato
Eggs and-
guns.
I'm
and let them
digging
shoot
it.
each other.
If you want.
Just launch up in the sky.
I don't have an
I don't
Moving
either.
along.
I don't.
If we don't start meeting.
That's affordable,
I'm
though.
hungry, though.
It's
I
all
know.
I'll go buy a
affordable.
potato gun right now.
That's all
You should,
affordable.
you're right, they're like $2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but potatoes.
Those are just weeds.
I could
Alright,
make a potato gun,
Small-minded. Small-minded.
but we put Easter eggs in it. And just shoot up in the sky. And the kids gotta find one they land, and whoever
It
gets it.
is. I put
Oh, you
it
played
in there.
jackpot.
No one put back on me.
You know the game jackpot?
I
could bring the
was,
helicopter.
yeah, I was
Mm.
busy.
For 2
He's
hours.
Is he on drugs? Did you guys like smoke last night or something?
I
Oh
know.
my god.
I don't know who these guys are.
You're gonna have
Is
to
this
rein him in,
Sarah?
man.
What is this, Tara?
Oh, it's syrup.
What?
Sorry. I meant to
Syrup.
open that.
What, just go back
It's
to it?
there.
You don't need a helicopter if you're
At
on the
least
move.
we're having fun.
Oh, we are. You're not. You're
Oh,
taking this
Really?
too serious.
No, I'm trying to run a meeting so that the rest of the people that are not with your helicopter
Dude, I'm
can
not
survive
with.
it.
I'm not with my helicopter.
I know you're not, then let it go.
It's just funny at this point.
It's not. It
About
became
to
unfunny.
cry.
It's not funny
I
anymore.
think it's hilarious. And so
No,
does Langdon.
it's actually not funny
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't know when to stop though, so you can't take my word
I
for
agree
it.
with you there. And so he did something last night he doesn't want to talk about, but that's all right.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you huffing like,
Just me.
what is it?
Oh.
What's the
Yeah,
latest
I
huff
didn't
thing?
know that there was
They're
one.
huffing like something. Huh?
Bath
Febreze.
salts.
Is it Febreze?
Fentanyl.
Yeah.
Febreze?
Fentanyl kills
Yeah, I
you.
can't.
You know,
Huffing Febreze.
Yeah, I mean, I can if you guys wanna
No.
see.
That's-
Caleb and Lana, I need you guys
for what?
for a picture in a second when we're done.
You gonna pay me?
Absolutely not. You have to look good for that.
I do look good for that.
So is Carl still in Florida?
He definitely is.
So, I mean, you can tell, yeah, share the story here.
What?
Carl, the guy who's been coming here, was a knucklehead, and now he's trapped in Florida. So,
He's what?
trapped in Florida.
Yeah, he
What
decided
do you mean?
to go somewhere on his own. I mean, he just decided to fly the coop and.
Which one's
He
Carl?
was the one who was at prayer night, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh,
He was the one who I had to like.
Got baptized?
Yes.
Yes,
What did you do?
he just
Why is he trapped there?
decided to go to Florida.
Because he
Yep.
doesn't have money to get back.
Right.
Took a one-way ticket to Florida.
Oh,
The
On a
worst
whim.
place to go.
He felt, I think it was, he felt like God was leading him to Florida.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, let's go ahead and do a spiritual backtrack here. And then he realized what happened. He's like, dude, I'm so dumb. And I was like,
That's like the scary thing about people who like think they hear from God. Like we gotta be careful about that.
You gotta
sort of
know
thing.
how to discern it.
Yeah, because
It's
then you
absolutely true,
then you
yeah.
up and leave to Florida, and then you're like, wait, that was me. That wasn't anything. God.
well,
Wow.
that's why you have brothers and sisters that help
Yeah.
you get an outside look at it. And he doesn't have his own house, so he's staying at other people's houses.
Yeah.
So he went from getting into a fight at a house that had Christians in it, went from a godly household, then he went to a family household that was incredibly satanic. Cousin was a
Sad.
Satanist, and then his aunt is like I don't know, heavy into the political side, like toxic, like political side of things. And then all of a sudden, he just one day said, "Hey, got this idea to go to Florida." And he texted and said, "I'm leaving the state, and I don't know when I'll be back." So,
Yeah.
and so he is trying to get back now, or not?
he said that he'll be back Sunday morning.
Oh.
That's what he said. But he has to take a Greyhound. So,
Yeah.
Wonder if they
What if
have
he's
a
in
mega bus. What if what?
What if
Yeah,
it's not in Florida?
so this brings up some interesting things.
yep.
Um,
Here's the thing, though. He doesn't have the same mindset about being held accountable.
yeah,
And someone he thinks that he's
he's-
independent, I guess is the best word. Like he doesn't owe explanations to anybody. He doesn't. So
You alright?
please don't die.
he's already tripped up.
That is
Yeah, so that, one of the interesting implications is, well, okay, so don't be connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
We certainly believe that you become connected, so just being aware of his thoughts around that
Yep.
are important. Because you'll get a bunch of people that just aren't connected and don't wanna be. And so you're always trying to figure that out. It's like, does this person wanna be a part of this or not, or are they just here, it's an opportunity, they're just visiting, and so having some of that background helps us understand them. I think he's very different than Brittany, I think he's very different than the other guys, but that's part of the, onboarding piece of, let's figure out where they're going and what they're thinking.
well, obviously he's searching for something now. We would just have to backtrack and find out,
Yeah.
what is it that you feel like you're searching for? What is it that you're really looking
Yeah.
for? Because there's not a firm foundation
Right.
of what
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
People come from all kinds of experiences, so don't assume we know why they do what they do. That's an operating principle.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is, get to know them so you know
Mm-hmm.
and can sort of think about what they might do.
Yeah, that's, Well,
It's not easy.
that's a whole embrace
That
piece.
brings up, I don't know, I don't know who was and wasn't on the text or the message I sent out about Vince.
Yeah.
Not, is that his name? No, Victor, I'm
Victor.
sorry.
Mhm.
Victor,
Otherwise,
that was close. Victor, what's his last name?
Humphreys.
Humphreys, yes.
Yeah.
That he was asked to, he's been going to Life Church evidently, and they asked him to leave for dangerous behavior.
Mm.
So,
Is that all the detail we got on that?
yeah, that's all I have so far.
Yeah,
I
same
called to
thing.
just see if they would share a little bit more, but nobody's called me back yet. So it's just something that, you know, we
Sorry.
need to watch out for. If he comes again, we have to decide how we're gonna handle that.
We say, hey, Victor, have you been meeting with your case manager? Have you been meeting with your
Does he have
doctors?
Meds.
Because if you have not, you're not welcome here.
Does he
Because
have- Does he have one?
He definitely
He has
does.
to.
He has to. Yeah, he definitely
Stuff is all
does.
he has
I'm
to
just
do.
telling you.
Yeah.
I thought he was
Last I heard, he was living in
a homeless
No, home,
shelter,
group
right?
home.
A group home or a homeless
Yeah.
shelter?
No, it's a group, well, is there a big difference between the two?
Well, yeah, in my mind, you're in a homeless shelter because you're homeless. You're in a group home because you have like mental
That's
disabilities.
a group home. It's a
He's
group
in a
home
group
by that
home.
definition, yeah.
So where is this?
Yeah.
I thought he was just living in a homeless shelter.
So did I, but they're saying
He said
group
his
home.
car, so.
No, he
We
would,
have the name.
he had,
We
no,
can
he
look it
was,
up.
he was staying somewhere. When he attended RLI, he had to have us sign a paper
Right.
saying that he was here at those times. Because it went after his curfew or something.
It's a group home.
Yeah. Yeah, they're keeping track of them.
Okay, so there
So-
may be some mental health thing issues.
Yeah,
going on.
Well,
there's definitely
we
that.
know that
there
we
is.
know for sure that
I
there's
mean,
a.
like, you know, managed, documented ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah, we
absolutely.
know for sure there is, simply because of some indicators before, but, we have to throw it into Victor's court. We have to make him, because he's using these situations as escapes for him not to be
Yeah,
held accountable for his own behavior.
sure.
And we need to throw it back in his, that he has to take ownership. We can't do the work for him as far as his mitigation.
So what would we do if he came to the door?
Just keep a very close eye on them.
Yeah,
Just have somebody stick
Somebody
with them
stay
all
with
the
them the
time?
whole time. Yeah, I think that's what you do.
yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
think
you're
you stop them
exactly
from
right.
coming in,
No.
but
Yeah,
I think
no, I'm
you
not-
position somebody to,
Truthfully, sticking with me.
yeah, I
Okay.
think
Just
it
like
would
we
be
did last
Mike.
time.
Yeah, I'm
And
just
he,
wondering.
Mike was really good
Yeah,
at
but you're a class,
staying
Mike.
close
You
to
can't
him.
necessarily have
You
him
can
come
stick
down.
with me right here in class.
Okay.
You can sit right there next to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's that unpredictable, I really don't want him like laying in the
Well-
sanctuary and that kind of stuff. I mean, I think if that reaction is due to his mental, state of mind,
Mhm.
then, we probably should not let that.
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah,
it has
that's-
nothing to do with.
That's what I'm saying, just
Let's
sticking with
take
me, I'll
it,
come
yeah,
back
at
in
least-
way.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it's not a result of something that's going on in service.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You'd think.
Well, I don't know. I'm just
I know.
saying, it's something that you have to really
But that's why you watch
keep an
them.
eye on.
That's why you watch them. And so, you know, somebody that's mature can watch and see what kind of reactions those
Okay,
are.
well, at least
That's
we have
the
a plan,
answer.
so
Yeah.
that's what was
And,
most
you know,
important.
and people, you know, like Landon spoke to him and sort of cared for him a little bit, so I think there's a mix of the two. You know,
And
keep a
Mel did
watchful eye,
too.
but work with them as best you can.
Okay.
and-
Yeah, everybody pitched in, and so that's great, but
This is a good question for our open arms
Mhm.
concept.
It is.
Where do
Mhm.
you draw a line at, and how do you deal with that?
Yep.
It's gonna happen in other things too, people were not aware of.
Agreed.
You know, probably need to figure out some kind of a protocol for
Mm-hmm.
if something starts happening,
Mm-hmm.
what happens, or where does it go with, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yep. And we'll need more people to be engaged in that. Did we decide Glenn is the one that needs a walkie, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, not you. And the only reason I was just sort of thinking through if you need one.
I think
I
we
mean, it'd
should.
be nice to have one in the classroom, it'd be nice to have.
Yeah, when I
Dan
did
have
that for
one,
Dan,
and me
I think
and-
that kind of
in
sparked
preschool.
something with me, is like giving Dan one, and then you.
We have no way to
We'll just
reach
have to
out
put you
for
guys on-
emergency.
We'll have to put you guys on a different channel, just that way you don't hear the chatter
Oh.
during service, but when you need something, just look at, I guess.
You might have to train.
Yeah,
Yeah, there might be a channel.
Yeah,
Because
just
that
like the
was kinda
one down from,
disruptive, 'cause
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
I had
the
it in
second I
class.
handed it to you, I was like, wait, he's gonna hear everything that goes on in service. So if anything, I would just put it down a channel, and then anytime you need us, put it up to that channel, anytime we need you, we'll go down to your channel. But
I think, everyone outside of sanctuary should be on one channel, everyone inside of sanctuary should be on another one.
then we just go back if we need
Yeah, and if you
them.
need somebody out in the hall or in one of the classrooms, you can switch over and say
Yes.
something.
Gotcha. And so their procedure would be they switch it over and talk to
If
somebody
they
in
need
there.
something, and then
Yeah.
vice versa, if we need them, then we'll switch to their channel.
Got it.
So like audio,
Cool.
sanctuary team can be on 14.
Can you have one set up that can listen to both channels?
I don't think,
Switch it back and forth?
yeah, I don't think so.
How are you gonna know if you're not on the channel? How are you gonna know we
It
need
says
it?
it on there. Wait,
It's
what do you mean?
like, if,
How will you know what's going on?
yeah, if you're not on, say you're not on the other channel
That's
for
what
the
I'm saying, is
classroom.
like we would, whoever say something's going on in the lobby or in the sanctuary, we would be responsible to turn to the back hallways channel
Oh, I
and
see
say,
what
hey
you're
guys.
saying.
Yeah, so it would be whoever's responsibility to get the word out to switch to whatever
Switch
channel.
over.
So we would be, sanctuary team would be on like 14, back hallway, SOZO kids would be on like 13, and
Mhm.
we would just switch back and forth
I
for
get it.
whoever needs
Okay.
whoever. Yeah. Cool.
Well, and that would work good, like for baptism,
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
needed a cue, you
Yeah.
know, when to come up.
For sure.
And, you know, there's various events like
Yeah.
Or even when the service is running long, so you know, I have
Yeah,
to
when to
pull a
expect
game out
people.
of my hat so the kids aren't crazy.
For sure. Yeah, we can start doing that tomorrow. Just set up one in each classroom.
Cool.
And
Do we
kind
have?
of
enough?
lay out what?
Do we have enough?
Yeah, we have a
Oh,
whole
yeah,
bunch.
launch.
We bought a whole bunch, and so we'll just lay out like a whatever channels we're on. I don't know if we should. I think Glenn and then everyone who's in the back hallways should have their own, and then sanctuary team
Yeah.
should have their own.
I'm good.
Separating it that way would be the best.
No, I'm good with that. That's why I was thinking, Mike, just thinking a broader, now that we've got them and we've been really effective with them, yeah, who else just needs to be tapped in?
Yeah.
And yeah, if I got this guy in the back keeping an eye on things, I would want him to be able
Me too.
to be able to call for help if he needed.
Yeah.
That would just be
But we'll see.
our only security thing that would be in
Well,
place at this point.
And that's another thing we gotta work on.
That's what we're getting.
But I mean, I think it's a good step.
We can't-
Mhm.
Well,
It's
yeah.
a good first step, it doesn't really cost us any more money, and sounds like it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
So-
I'm gonna have to pick them.
Yeah, I just didn't know we had that
ADT's
many.
doing it?
Yeah.
Who said that?
They came and did it.
Well, it's,
Quote.
okay, let's look at the quote.
Okay.
Who, ADT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
don't
for
know.
the cameras.
Whoever we choose, I wanna sit down with you and create the account.
You're really getting a little big for your britches here, bud.
So we can go through the
Bring all
account
the
together.
family
I know you're not.
I can
I know
trigger
you
you.
are, that's
You know
why-
I can trigger
No,
you.
that's why
though.
I'm ignoring
No, I
you
was-
and,
I was-
and moving on.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yes, that's
So
what a grown,
moving on.
that's what a grown man
How about those
does.
helicopters?
Yeah, I was about to say,
where you
Logan.
can drop the eggs out the helicopters. Don't you
No,
think
if
that's
I
a great
know-
idea?
if I know you're
Don't you?
kidding-
Don't you?
If I know you're kidding, I
Logan,
move on.
you're taking this really seriously.
Did he
He's just
say
joking,
something?
man.
I know.
Yeah, man.
I'm taking this so
Trigger.
seriously.
I'm trying to finish my sentence.
Is that okay? Is that all right with
That was
you?
fantastic.
Trigger.
But, so we can, you and I can talk about the account.
Yeah, I'm good.
And lay it out, so more than one person has it and can look at it.
Nah, I don't think so.
Sweet, glad we agree.
About those helicopters.
a little immature, don't you think?
No. Not today, it's not.
Just
Is
saying.
there,
Today was a mature day.
think of a
This
need
is where the day is gone.
It is, it's coming down.
in the sanctuary for a camera that we don't, I'm talking about security camera, we have one right now that shows the right side of the
Chairs.
chairs and the stage.
It doesn't show the stage.
It doesn't say the whole stage, it just shows where the podium is.
I don't think it does.
You think it does?
Really?
So, do you guys think that there's a need for anything upstairs or something?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Basically, I just asked them to quote on what we currently have, replacing what we currently have now, with
Mhm.
just a few little minor adjustments. So, if there is a need or a want for anything additional, it would be good if I know that.
Yeah.
Are you
Do we
also
have-
replacing outside cameras?
Yes.
I did add 2 exterior cameras, one in the back and one in the front. And the back will only go from, it'll be mostly the right side so that we can capture this drive and the
Mhm.
poster. We
Okay.
would need 2 cameras if we want
Both.
the other side, yeah.
Do you need one over there with playgrounds in it?
I don't think right now, I mean, I was thinking more like for CTS because there's trucks and stuff in there, but when they usually were putting it here, it's usually on this side of the building.
I just didn't know if we had it by where the kids wanted to play on that or whatnot, so we kind of what was going on.
If we're not gonna use it,
I think
they
right.
you know,
It's in there.
Yeah,
seriously, it's just deteriorating out there, the weather.
it's true.
Well, you know, we don't have a spot.
We
We
don't?
had an empty pod where the chairs were.
Oh, we do?
We sold all them chairs out of that pod.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
Yeah. I don't know.
I thought we had a spot, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we do. We just have to rearrange some stuff if we put it in the
I
back
think
one.
a camera upstairs in the main hallway would be good, just like
I
in
do
the
too.
corner. Just to get who's going in and out of there.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause,
Yeah.
like if all we see is someone going upstairs, and we don't see what they're doing.
Where they
so
go.
Yeah.
I like one upstairs, I like 2 outside, like one in the front, one in the
Yeah.
back.
And we can always add,
I like
but
2 in the sanctuary, one on the right side, one on the
You
left
think so?
side. Yeah, 'cause you can't see any of the left side.
yeah, the left side is right
Yeah, you
completely.
can't, you can't see anything. I think, is there one in the back office hallway?
No, you can see whoever's coming in the back door.
Yeah, I think one in the
And
back
front door.
office hallway would be good,
Mm.
but besides that, cause I mean,
Do we
we'll-
need one in the classroom with the kids?
I don't think so.
Nancy normally is against that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I think one,
I think they're
Caption.
misleading, kind of, you know, people.
Can't really see the context of what's.
Mhm.
yeah,
But, I mean, I think if we got them in these hallways, I think
We
that's
do.
good enough.
Yeah,
What
no.
we're really looking for is intruders. If we don't,
Well, I was thinking of protecting the people doing the teachings, whereas
oh,
thinking of more in the classroom.
Well,
But
what did we
then
say?
again,
You said, remember John was saying, putting the pane, put a pane of glass in
Two-way.
those doors,
yeah.
two-way.
so people can walk by and look if they need to,
Mhm.
so it's visible what's happening in the room, per se.
But if we're thinking about the walkie-talkies and we're thinking about,
Yeah, we don't need a camera.
yeah, we don't really need, and we have them in place on the main hallways. I think that we're pretty well covered as
Yeah.
far as that goes.
I agree.
The only problem with those kind of windows is that if you do have an intruder, they can see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's,
If they get in.
I'm not saying that is necessarily a reason to
Well,
not have them, it's just,
And we always have to remember access control into that area, that's the real issue.
Yeah.
you know, for.
I should know who's walking back there,
And
and I
that's-
should know,
And that's
yeah,
the idea with the faux
Absolutely.
walls.
Yeah.
There's someone, you have to be kind of let in
right.
to this area anyways.
Right.
Also, for that particular thing, Tara, I mean, an easy thing to do is we just put up a set of drop blinds
Mhm.
inside the room. And part of our safety emergency plan is if something happens, the first thing the teacher does is goes over and
And close it.
drops the blinds over the window, and then that blocks out the room.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta work
I
on
mean, the first step is the front door, that should be
that, agree.
where someone gets stopped anyways. And then if not there, then this, well, the new check-in area should definitely be where somebody doesn't just get to waltz back in the
No.
back like they can
That's right.
now. So,
That's right.
but I think a perfect start is the walkie-talkies
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the new cameras.
I'm absolutely great with that. The cameras can be very helpful. The other thing we need to think about is the check-in system,
Yeah.
that we actually know exactly who's here at any point in
Yeah.
time, but we can work that into it. Those aren't that expensive, really. Those are fairly cheap.
Yeah, they are.
It's
Are
just
they?
a matter of just putting them in place.
No, yeah, it's
Managing
it's
it.
the software and getting it all teed up, but once you do it, you're fine.
Yeah. So we'll get there. All right. So you
Okay.
guys have meetings?
Where you wanna meet, Dan? Wanna just go in a classroom?
Sure.
Get away from these crazy
Do
people?
not show me another
Is
helicopter.
there, is there
God.
adult, see,
Imagine.
seriously,
Imagine.
preschool group?
No, I'm not imagining anyone.
Probably
But
not.
Kitty seats are pretty comfy.
Yeah, we wanna turn it for the first time.
You get used to it.
Probably not.
Go to the room next to the woman's bathroom.
That's pretty cool.
Are there, is it open?
I mean, I like it, but where would this be?
Listen, so.
Dad, what do you want?
If you want